Hey everyone, it's Tami LaTrell back here with another edition of The Writer's Block. I'm so excited about today's show because I have my dear friend Jason Cerf from Songtrust here. He's going to be giving us a lot of information about how awesome Songtrust is. If you are an independent artist, a songwriter, a producer, you should be watching these videos because we're going to have a few segments that talk about, the benefits of being with Songtrust, and also just educating you on certain things that, of course, I probably already talked about, but it's always great when it's coming from someone else. So Jason, tell us a little bit about Songtrust and how it can be helpful to independent artists, songwriters, and producers like myself.
Sure. Thank you for having me, Tammy.
No
It's
problem.
been really great to see you down here in Atlanta. Songtrust is basically offering a service to independent artists, creators, anybody who owns and operates publishing rights. It's a way to globally collect your royalties that you are due as a songwriter or producer, anybody who has a split percentage on a song.
Right.
We're now serving 100,000 different songwriters, powering 15,000 different businesses.
Wow.
And we have one of the most extensive global registration networks that we offer and opt all of our clients into.
Okay. So if I'm a songwriter, let's say I'm not signed, I don't have a publishing company, I may not have a placement, but, I also from time to time release music. Like, do I own all of my my music? Like, I know I may work with a producer, but, how does that all work when it's time for me to collect on my royalties from the song being picked up on, Spotify, or, if I decide to push it through CD Baby or and so forth?
So one thing that we really want to get across to everybody is that there are two types of ownership when it comes to music. When you make music, you own the recording and you own the composition. And those are two things that you can collect money for based off of those sales. So as someone who's involved in music, you automatically own the copyright that you're creating. You don't have to go register with the Copyright Office. You might choose to do so, but that's optional. But the act of collecting royalties for your works, like going through your distributor, whether it's someone like DistroKid or CD Baby, or whether you're working with a label to get your music on Spotify and in digital stores, that would be a way to collect your recording royalties.
Okay.
But one of the most important parts, and that's where Songtrust comes in, is in the ownership of the songwriting or the composition.
Right.
Producers often get 5%, maybe 50%, depending on what they're working on. Co-writers, I know that you've been in a lot of co-writing situations.
Yes.
You have to basically negotiate a split percentage of the publishing. That means a split percentage of the songwriting or the composition. And then the act of registering that ownership and collecting royalties from the use of that music is the greatest way to kind of prove your ownership, protect your copyright, and also just earn money.
So I don't technically have to go and copyright my music or my song through the Library of Congress. Once I have the actual composition, recorded, that is enough proof to substantiate my ownership. Okay.
The way it works is that if you have any tangible proof that you are the creator of a work, then you can prove that you own it. You automatically own that copyright. Often people may be concerned that other people might try to use their work, which is why I wouldn't advise against registering your works with the Copyright Office.
Right.
It's just not the only way to prove your ownership, and the way legally it works. I'm not a lawyer. I can't advise
Of course,
as a
of
lawyer,
course.
but as someone who deals with a lot of songwriters, I like to make it clear that if you write something, you own it 100%, unless you sell your ownership or do any sort of special deals or anything like that.
Absolutely. So let's say, for instance, I'm an independent artist and I also have written and produced all of my songs, and I'm going to put it out independently. Would I use you as the person who's going to collect the royalties on my behalf and put it out, or are you just collecting the royalties? Would Songtrust just be collecting the royalties?
Right. So I guess there's a short checklist that every independent artist should probably go down when you're releasing music. You've got your distribution, so DistroKid, CD Baby, your label, whoever it is. Then you've got your publishing rights, and that's most of the time coming through Songtrust. You maintain all of your ownership, and you have this flexible deal and this global and extensive collection. You get affiliated with a PRO, but that's not enough. So being affiliated with BMI, ASCAP, CSAC, wherever it is part of collecting your publishing royalties and something that Songtrust helps you do. but they only collect performance. So Songtrust is collecting all of your publishing royalties, performance and mechanical. So that's two things, right? Distribution, publishing. And then the third thing that a lot of people are just kind of getting up on is something called sound exchange, which is paying out digital rights, which is completely separate. It's a third type of ownership.
Right.
It's kind of like the American version of neighboring rights.
Okay.
This is a developing and a growing form of revenue. So that's the three areas. That's the distribution, the publishing, and your neighboring rights or your sound exchange account.
Right. If you're an artist or if you're a copyright holder, you're able to receive royalties. And I talk about sound exchange a lot on my page, on my YouTube channel. So you guys, that was a wealth of information. He just literally covered, if you're an independent artist, a songwriter, a producer, what Songtrust can do to help you with collecting your royalties, as well as, where you should go for distribution. Of course, you can go wherever you want, but we want to be able to at least give you understanding of, how distribution is compared to collecting on the compositions or the music that you put out. So we'll be back to talk about a little bit more. I kind of want to dive into maybe copyright splits, that sort of thing when we get back. So stay tuned.